Hi, I'm Lucy from Sew Essential and I'm here today to share my latest makes with you. So everything I talked about today is available on our lovely website, and you'll find the link to our website and all the products I mentioned below. I'll also link any tutorials for you below as well. And if you like what you see today, please like and subscribe, because every Friday I bring you a video packed full of sewing goodness. If you can't wait a whole week though and you want some daily sewing inspiration, do hop on and have a look at our Instagram account, because I share posts on there every day with details of what I'm making, close-ups of sewing details, tips and techniques as well. So let's get started with what I've made. So it is this blouse of dreams as far as I'm concerned. I'm absolutely in love with it. It was a replica of a ready-to-wear blouse. So those of you who've been watching the vlog for a long time, I wore a ready-to-wear blouse that everybody loved and was saying, did you make it? Where's the fabric? And I decided to recreate it, and this is what I came up with. So I'm absolutely thrilled with it. It's Butterick 6801. It's got this V at the front, it's got a stand-up collar, and then I've added this ruffle detail. So I'll just show you the little ruffle detail there that goes all the way around the collar. I also added a back yoke so I could add the ruffle detail across the back as well. And then I added these little neckties, and all the other details were just part of the original pattern. So I'll talk you through that. I've made it in this beautiful linen viscose fabric, which we've got on the site. And I managed to get plenty in because I knew you'd all go crazy for it, because it is just the ultimate dreamy fabric. It's beautiful and flowy and billowy, it's breathable, perfect for spring and summer because it's a linen viscose mix. The colours are just absolutely gorgeous and just lift my mood immediately as soon as I put this blouse on. Just makes me feel happy and bright and ready to face the day. So yeah, we've got some extra stock of this in. It is limited stock because I think it's gone to reprint again, so you'd have to be quick, but there is plenty of it in stock for this video. So let me talk you through the pattern. So the pattern is Butterick 6801, which is like a tunic sort of pattern with 3 different views. But I spotted that I could use the basis of this pattern to create this blouse if I made a few tweaks. So I chose view A, which was a tunic with a front yoke with gathers, a stand-up collar and a V-neck. And then I chose the sleeves from view D, which are these lovely billowy balloon sleeves that are heavily gathered at the sleeve head there. And then instead of using, it was supposed to have a band around the bottom like a cuff, and instead of doing that I cut that excess fabric off and I did gathered into elastic there, because that's how it worked on the other blouse, and I just think that works really well with this type of sleeve. I also cut a huge amount off the length because it is more of a tunic than a blouse, the original pattern. So you can see it's just up to there on me. It's, you know, I had this much length to work with, it sort of came down to about there. So I did hack quite a bit off. Kind of wish I'd have I always do this, I kind of wish I'd have given myself just a little bit more, because it's that fine balancing act. I knew I'd want to tuck it into high-waisted trousers or jeans, and obviously you don't want loads of bulk and excess fabric bunching up inside your jeans, but then at the same time you want enough fabric that it's not going to keep popping out. But I think it's probably pretty much on the money here. But I wish, as usual, I kind of wish I'd have left it just a smidgen longer, because I do sometimes feel, oh, is it going to pop out from that waistband, you know. And actually if I'd have gone a little bit longer, if I thought it was too long, then I could have shortened it, couldn't I? But I did try it on, and you know, I think it should be okay. But yeah, I'm just absolutely loving this blouse. I'm really happy with it. It just feels so perfect, and just love the colours and everything. So they were the views that I chose, and how I sort of mixed and matched the 2 views in terms of the pattern. Then I made the adaptations that I talked about, which were adding the frill. I reduced the width of the collar band, added and created this gathered frill to sew into that, and then also added a back yoke and added that sort of frilly ruffly detail on the back there, all very on trend and contemporary and everywhere at the moment. So yeah, that feels really good. If you would like to do that, you could do it on any blouse pattern really that's got a stand-up collar. It doesn't necessarily need to be that one. You know, you should be able to adapt the pattern to add those features, and I made an in-depth tutorial on exactly how I did that, and that's on our channel. I aired it a few weeks ago, so if you just hop on and have a look on our channel, you'll see that I think it was called collar and yoke ruffle detail tutorial, something along those lines. You'll see all of that there. In terms of sizes for the pattern, it runs from a 31.5 bust, 24 waist and 33.5 hip, up to a 46 bust, 39 waist and 48 hip. I made a straight size 12, so by my measurements I should have been a 12 at the bust and a 14 at the hips and the waist, but I went for a straight size 12 because it is a very sort of, there's a lot of ease in this pattern, and then I actually ended up taking even more out of the side seams and just reducing it down a little bit more. I wanted it to be, I didn't want it to be skin tight, you know, I did want it to have a little bit of billowy sort of blouse on effect, I suppose, on it, but I didn't want it to be too overly, you know, too much fabric bunching up everywhere. So I'm pretty happy with that, how that turned out. I think that I got that spot on. In terms of the construction, obviously I made my adaptations, and as I said, there's a detailed tutorial on that. I made my usual high round back and forward shoulder adjustments. You can find tutorials on those on our YouTube channel as well. The one thing I would say is when I made the collar stand and ruffle, obviously the really important thing that you've got to try and do is try and get it all to line up here, and that's the tricky bit with the collar stand, is trying to get it all to line up neatly with the edge, the neckline edge of the blouse there. So I was very conscious of that when I was attaching the collar, and I sort of sewed it in place and turned it through and checked that it was all lining up properly, and it looked like it was. So then I went ahead and trimmed and graded the seams, and then when I turned it through properly, it was just really jutting out and sticking out. It wasn't nice and in line with this line on the neckline, and it just looked awful, to be honest. I was like, how have I done that? I haven't obviously been careful enough in checking. And then it was at that point that I realised that linen fabric frays a lot, and it was quite a sort of panicky moment for me. I thought there was a strong possibility I might have ruined the whole blouse, because I had to manoeuvre it to get it in line, and I almost felt like I hadn't quite got enough fabric left there to do it, but luckily I did have. I managed to pull it out the bag, I managed to fix it, but I just thought I'd mention that to you guys because I haven't worked with linen fabric before, so although I know it frays, I just hadn't thought that carefully about that. But if you're making any alterations or anything like that, you know, just bear that in mind and be really careful, be confident before you start trimming and grading things, because you only have to look at it and it starts fraying, and then you're starting to lose fabric. There's not enough left to sew with if you're not too careful. Another thing I did, because it was linen and viscose fabric, was I thought, well, it'd be really nice to do French seams where I can. I couldn't do them everywhere, like I couldn't do them on the sleeves because of the gathering and the sleeve head. It would have just been too bulky to do a French seam there, but certainly on the side seams I decided to do one. And you can see here I did these like little baby French seams. So normally what I would do is I would sew a 1/4 inch seam, and then and that would be wrong sides together. Then I'd fold the fabric right sides together and sew a 3/8 seam, which would encase all of the previous seam. However, I got a little tip off Threads magazine, which was to do it in reverse. So I sewed the 3/8 seam first, then I trimmed that down, and then I sewed the 1/4 inch seam, and that worked really well because I got those really small little French seams then, and I just thought they were perfect for like this weight of fabric, and just lovely and neat. And then I also cut out a second yoke for the back, and I did my burrito method on that, so that encased all of the seams on the yoke at the back. If you want more details on that, there is a tutorial on this channel how to do it, and also there's like images of the process on our Instagram account as well, so you can have a look at that. But it just means the inside of the garment's lovely and neat as well, and that's something I really wanted to do with this because I absolutely love it, and I knew I'd want to wear it forever and a day. The ready to wear one that I had, I must have bought that, I would guess it's like 6-7 years ago, and I still wear it all the time. So, you know, I thought let's just take the time to make sure the seams are nice and strong and everything's really neat, and it's going to stand the test of time and wash and wear really well. The construction was easy really, there wasn't anything, you know, obviously my added little twists, you know, probably add another level of complexity, but like the neckline's just finished with a simple facing. Obviously it is a V, that can be a little bit tricky sometimes to get that right, but overall it was a pretty straightforward and simple sew. And there are some other views on the pattern as well. There's options for like pin tucks, which are very now as well, and I hope that what I've shown you as well is that personally, I didn't find the styling on the pattern packet very inspiring, but I look past that and I always look at the line drawings and look at the sewing details, because I think a lot of patterns, very often patterns from the big four pattern companies, get overlooked because the styling isn't always particularly contemporary. It's not always the case, some of them are fantastic, but there are hidden gems there. There are patterns that if you can just see past, you know, the sort of more dated styling on the packet, but you can look at the line drawings and think, oh, if I use this fabric or I tweaked it slightly here, you know, there's a lot of mileage in some of those patterns, and also you'll be making something really unique that not many other people have made as well. You know, some of the patterns are really popular and lots of people make those, which is great. I like doing that as well, but if you want something really unique, it can be quite a good way to do that as well. So I'll just give you one last little twirl of my blouse of dreams. I'm sure you'll be seeing it on the vlog more and more because I shall be wearing it all summer long. But yeah, I'm super pleased with that, and I hope you've enjoyed it today. As I mentioned at the start of the video, everything I talked about today, patterns, fabric, tutorials, I'll put links to all of those below for you. And if you like what you see today, please like and subscribe, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.